Hello everybody, probably be my last video in the Coming to the Philippines series. So a couple of three things I'll touch on is first off, a viewer had reminded me about Billick buy-on boxes. I'd forgot all about them. I've used them about 3 different times. What a Billick buy-on box is, it's a large box you can ship from the United States. You can pack it very full, and they charge by the size of the box, not by the weight of the box. So the last one I shipped was about $90 from Kentucky. And you'll have to do some searching to find out where they're at. There's like 2 or 3 different companies I know of that ship Billick buy-on boxes. I know LBC's one, there's a couple others. But like in Kentucky, there's only one place I know of. In Tennessee, there's one place. I know of one place in Michigan I've never used. But range about, for the largest box, $120, $90 for a box to ship from the United States to the Philippines. And it's a very big box. You can pack a lot of stuff into it. Only problem is it's shipped by container on a ship across the ocean, so it takes about 4 months to get here. I think there is one you can do on the airlines, have it shipped through the airlines, but I've never used that one, and I've heard it's quite a bit more expensive. So compare that to the United States Postal Service. I shipped a flat rate box, which would have been about, what, $6 at the time. You know, it was about this big. Shipped it here when I first came from the Postal Service. That was $250, like twice what a Billick buy-on box would cost me, and way smaller, just a few items. And that took me over a month to get, because where I am, they don't have delivery service. Only way to know if you have something at the post office is to either call them or go in and look or ask if they have something for you. And usually trying to call them is almost impossible because the number doesn't work half the time that I've found. So it took me a long time to get that, and it had been sitting there a week before I was able to get to the other town where that post office is and go in and ask them, hey, do I have a package here? And they had to search around to find it, because they had a room full of boxes and packages and mail that had never been delivered. People never come in and picked up. I could see some boxes, like I'd seen another flat rate box there like mine. It had been sitting there a while, and it was beat all to pieces. So don't trust U.S. mail if you're in a province like I am. Maybe it's different in the city, but here I don't use the mail service. Next thing is hot water. Some places you might find hot water in showers, like hotels and condos. Here, when we built this house, I put hot water heaters in the bathroom, but they're little electric hot water heaters. They're not very large. It's like on demand. You have hot water when you turn the water on, turn it on, and turn it off. You know, it's not heating. It's not running electricity. As far as water at a kitchen sink or something like that, hot water, I've never seen that here. Like I said, maybe in the cities they have it, but not any place I've seen here. It's only in the shower, basically. Laundry is no electric dryers like we have in the United States. The only dryers I've seen, even in stores, is just a small air dryer, basically. It doesn't heat. And everybody that I'm aware of here just hangs their clothes on a clothesline. So electric dryers are not really a thing here, or at least where I am. Everybody hangs their clothes on a clothesline. So be prepared for that. Now, maybe in the condos and hotels, because I was in one hotel that had a laundry service. You could take your laundry down, pay them to do your laundry, and they would, when it's done, you go back and get it, and it's all folded and ready for you. And I'm sure they had electric dryers there. And maybe some condos have that service. I don't know. I don't own a condo. I've stayed in a rented condo, but wasn't there long enough to have to do any laundry. One thing you'll notice is going into a lot of stores and banks especially, you have armed guards at the door. And they'll open the door for you and say, "Good morning, sir," or "ma'am," or whatever, and open the door for you to come out. But don't be alarmed by that. You'll see armed guards everywhere in front of stores and everywhere, or maybe roaming around stores. A lot of them carry shotguns or long rifles. In the cities, they mostly have pistols. But a lot of armed guards, even at 7-Eleven. So be aware of that. Going into the restaurant, McDonald's here in Ipil, where we go there, armed guard at the door. Also, a lot of times, like especially in malls, places like that, they want you to take your hat off if you're wearing a cap and check it in at a counter. Most of the malls and most of the stores around here, in the city anyway, the larger cities, the small town here, it's not so much. I can wear a hat anywhere, but if I go to Ipil, any of the stores there, and want me to take my hat off, and they have a counter where you take your hat or umbrella, any packages you might be, or bags you might be carrying from another store, and they have a counter. You check them in to get a number, do your shopping in the mall or whatever, come back when you're done and give them the number and get your stuff back. So that's very common here as well. Little edit here I forgot to include earlier is going into a lot of stores, you may have a metal detector, or in the malls. Well, here in Ipil at the mall, I know for sure we go through it all the time. And usually what they do in any store you go in, like Anne has to open her purse and they take a stick and look in her bag and then let her go through. Now me, they don't search me anything, they just go on through. But that metal detector, I carry a Leatherman, which is metal, and I carry that in case I need a pair of pliers, screwdriver or something. If I'm out working on vehicle breaks down, I at least have that tool with me. And I go through that scanner and it beeps every time, but they never stop me. I've never had to stop because of the scanner going off. I just go on through and pretty much ignore it. So back to the video. English is in the provinces is not as much spoken as much as in the cities. Like in the cities, they're used to a lot of foreigners. There, you have a lot of foreigners, Americans in Cebu and Manila, places like that. But out here in the province, you don't see many foreigners. So the older generation doesn't speak English as much as the younger generation. It's taught in schools, and the younger generation can communicate with you for the most part in English, but the older generation, they don't like to speak it because they don't get to use English that much. In the cities, they use English a lot. They're exposed to it a lot more. In the province, they're not. So be aware of that you may be some places where they might have a hard time understanding what you're saying. Like if I need something from a hardware store here, a lot of times I'll get a picture of it on my phone and say, I need this, because if I try to tell them what I want, they don't understand me because they have different words for things. So you have that. Beware, careful. Any jokes you tell, they don't get sarcasm for the most part, and jokes could be taken the wrong way if you're sarcastic jokes. Now, Anne, she's a little different. We've been together long enough that she can understand my sarcastic jokes, and she can throw some zingers at me and make me laugh really hard. So exposure after time helps a lot. And as I've said in another video, their words, some words mean different things, like maniac to us, like the maniac driving that car so fast or whatever. Well, here, a maniac is a sex addict. And there's other words like that, like a bunkhouse. A bunkhouse to us would be like a place where, cowboys stay and, after being out on the range all day or something like that, sleeping quarters for employees or something like that. Well, here a bunkhouse is a lot of times, if you like when they were building the house, they built a little storage shed to keep stuff in, and they called it a bunkhouse. We did have one employee staying there at nights just to guard the place. So things like that, certain words are a little bit different to them than they are us. And like I said before, if you ask a Filipina where something is, she might go like that. It's not an invitation to kiss. She's pointing to show you where it is. And I've always heard, don't point your finger at people. They say, if you point at that guy over there, I've heard that could be an insult and could start a fight. I've never experienced that. Sometimes I do forget and point. It's such a habit from the United States, but it might be a good idea to try to avoid that as possible. Now going to the beaches. There's a lot of beaches around here. You can go to a beach and spend the day. Some of them might have an entry fee of a couple of hundred pesos or something like that. And they have these little, what they call cottages. It's a sitting area with a roof and a table usually. And those run, most cases we found 500 pesos for a day or a night, or maybe 1,000, depends on the beach. And you can rent one of those all night long, spend the night, put a tent up, sleep at night on the beach, and just have a good time. So it's very inexpensive. But one thing about beaches, don't go to the beach thinking you're going to see girls laying everywhere in bikinis, because Filipinos don't really do that a lot. You might see one or two here and there, but most of the time they'll wear shirt, shorts, or a full body bathing suit, because they're more conservative in their dressing. Well, I can't say that. They're more self-conscious about their bodies, I guess we could say. They're more shy about showing their bodies, so they don't really wear bikinis a lot. I mean, you might see them once in a while, but it's not real common like it is in the United States. It's not girls everywhere wearing bikinis on the beach. So don't expect that if you go to the beach. Expect you might not even see any girls in a bikini. As far as food, if you're looking for an American food in the cities, you have a pretty good selection of different restaurants and stuff like that. I think my mic's a little off. I hope I wasn't throwing my sound off. But you've got McDonald's, Burger King, there's Pizza Hut, places like that in the cities. But out in the province, you're not going to have those options. Like here in this town, there's no American food really at all. And in Ipil, which is the closest larger town, they do have one McDonald's. And there you can get the same burgers and everything, but like the chicken comes with rice. You can actually get rice in the McDonald's here because rice is such a staple in the Philippines. Their biggest burger joint is called Jollibee's. There you can get burgers, fries, of course, with rice and chicken, stuff like that. So they're everywhere, except for this town, of course. Very small towns, but the larger towns, you'll find a Jollibee's somewhere. Now, if you're here and you're leaving the Philippines, I suggest get to the airport at least 3 hours early, because there can be some very long lines. You get to that airport and you have to show an ID and that you have a ticket to get through the door to get in the airport. Then once you get in there, if you don't do self check-in, you got to go through the ticket counter and check your bags and all that. I always use the app and check in night before, so when I get to the airport, I just got to go to the kiosk, print out a bag tag, stick it on my bag, and drop it off at the counter. But if not, that's a long wait there too. Then you got to get through security with, put your bags through the scanner. You go through the scanner, take off your shoes. I don't know if they're still doing that here now or not. I've heard that the United States has done away with taking off the shoes, but I haven't flown since then, so I don't know. But that's one thing we were required to do. Of course, take your laptop out of your bag, all that stuff. And that can be a long wait getting through there. Then once you get there, you got to get to your gate, which could be a very long walk to your gate. Then get to the gate. The last few times I've flown, I get to my gate, they got a seating area. But then they have another checkpoint have to go through to get to the gate to get boarded on the airplane. And it's the same thing all over again, like take off your shoes, put your bag through the scanner, you go through the scanner, all that. So they do have an extra one there at the gate. I've never experienced that in the United States, but here in the Philippines, last few times I've flown, I've had to go through 2 different checkpoints at the gate even. And I always recommend getting to that gate at least a half hour before boarding time, and boarding time is a half hour before departure time. So I think I've covered everything I think I've covered everything so far that I wanted to. There's a lot more I could cover that I haven't, but these videos get very long and I'd be blabbing off the mouth too much. So if there's any questions you have, put them in the comments. I'll answer them as soon as I can. I'll read all the comments. And please like, share, subscribe. I'm a very small channel. I am not monetized. I don't have many viewers. So if you do that, maybe it help me get the videos out to more people. And some other people can see the videos too. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.